Tonight, a rebel media reporter is assaulted. Then, Justin Trudeau calls the media liars. And Canada dominates the World Bank list for corruption, thanks to SNC Lavalin from 2013. Yeah, this is the Canada Poly Report. I still like that. So I was watching the rebel media, and this guy just walks out of the hotel that this report is taking place in front of and assaults him. Out and out, like grabs him, assaults him, grabs the cameraman, grabs the microphone. It's pretty wild. The link is in the description. You should watch it. I'm not going to play it. You should watch it. I think it's incredible that people feel this emboldened just because somebody works for a news organization that has been maligned in places such as the House of Commons, right? Like on the floor. Justin Trudeau and Ahmed Hassan say rebel media conspiracy theories. It's incredible that then that translates into people believing that they have the power to assault other people. Wild. Anyway, it's interesting to watch. So this SNC Lavalin thing is really blowing up. Really, really bad news for Justin Trudeau in this election year. He's got nothing to run on. He's got no big initiatives to push forward other than open borders and, I don't know, some moral... I'm not sure. I really don't know what he's going to run on. It's getting less and less by the day. I am honestly surprised that there's not more rumblings to replace him, but I don't know who they'd replace him with. Chrystia Freeland? That would be incredible. Can you imagine the debate clothes? I can't. So anyway, this SNC Lavalin thing is getting very bad because it seems like, well, today in the news, Globe and Mail was reporting that the PMO, the Prime Minister's office, was directly pressuring the former Attorney General, who Prime Minister Trudeau just shuffled out of cabinet to replace with Linetti as the new Attorney General and Justice Minister. But it looks more and more, and the Globe and Mail reported that she was removed. This is Raybould. This is former Attorney General Wilson Raybould. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I had her name right. I was mixing up the Raybould Wilson. So this is Justin Trudeau saying, no, that story is that story is totally 100% false. So here's a listen. Sorry, that was a long intro to get to here.
To go back to SNC Lavalin, with regards to the statement that was made in the Globe story, we're saying that, and you're saying now that the PMO did not direct in any way. But the question is whether there was any sort of influence. Are you saying categorically there was absolutely no influence or any pushing whatsoever in this?
The allegations reported in the story are false. At no time did I or my office direct the current or previous Attorney General to make any particular decision in this matter.
But not necessarily direct, Prime Minister. Was there any sort of influence whatsoever?
As I've said, at no time did we direct the Attorney General, current or previous, to take any decision whatsoever in this matter.
He couldn't stop himself from smiling at the end there. Did you catch it? I just caught it the third time I watched it there. The big smile as he's lying. Anyway, the interesting part is how specifically he answered that question. He was very, very clear to answer it the same way both times. The PMO's office had no direct influence in the Attorney General's decisions and no pressure. Here's an interesting note by a Reddit user, and I can't remember the name, on Bing. It's got a search for Jody Wilson Raybould Lavalin, and in the trending on Bing, it's got PMO pressured MP and news about Joey Wilson Raybould Lavalin, and there's nothing really kind of here. And it says some results have been removed. And it notes these are all screenshots from Bing, and I apologize, I don't have the links, but you could get them if you want to. It talks about legal requests from government, individuals, or otherwise, and certain countries maintain laws or regulations that apply to search service providers and require removal of access to certain indexed pages. Some of these laws allow specific individuals or entities to demand removal of results such as for copyright infringement, libel, defamation, personally identifiable identifiable information, hate speech, or other personal rights, while others are administered and enforced by the government. When Microsoft offers a request or a demand, Bing balances its support for freedom of expression and free access to relevant blah, 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 blah. Okay. And here's a search for Ozzy Osbourne, and just omitting some search results have been removed. Okay, so it looks like somebody's requested articles about Wilson, Raybould, and Lavalin removed. So that's interesting to note. Interesting to note going forward. Here's a Liberal MP during a debate calling for the UN to regulate speech on the internet. And where is it? Yes. And I think the United Nations should have a body.
The United Nations should have a body to regulate those activities.
So, yeah, there you go. Liberal candidate. Yay. Here's CTV Power Play doing a poll on Twitter, a very scientific poll of 746 votes. I voted yes, spoiler alert. It was at 88% when I voted. It is now at 90% to 10% no. And the question is, do you believe there should be a public inquiry into whether there was any pressure from the Prime Minister's office on the Attorney General to help SNC Lavalin escape prosecution? And yeah, I think maybe, why not? So let's travel back in time, dear viewer, to 2013. 2013, more innocent times. Avril Lavigne was, I don't know if she was relevant then. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. So forget about her. But SNC Lavalin was in the news, and the Financial Post was reporting, Canada now dominates World Bank corruption list thanks to SNC Lavalin. One of the more than 250 companies year to date on the World Bank's running list of firms blacklisted from bidding on its global projects under its fraud and corruption policy, 117 are from Canada, which SNC Lavalin and its affiliates represent 115 of those entries. So of 117, SNC Lavalin represents 115 entities, banned companies from the World Bank. That seems like a lot. Out of more than 250 companies year to date on the World Bank's running list of firms blacklisted from bidding on its global projects under its fraud and corruption policy, 117 are from Canada, with SNC Lavalin and its affiliates representing 115 of those entries, the World Bank said. Quote, as it stands today, the World Bank debarment list include a high number of Canadian companies, the majority of which are affiliates to SNC Lavalin Incorporated, said the bank's manager of investigations, James David Fielder. And I scroll down. It's quite the jump from 2012, when no Canadian companies were barred. The long list of debarments mainly stems from just one large Canadian firm, but it still prompted some headlines around the world to point to Canada as being home to the most corrupt companies in the world. Quote, it's a little surprising, said Tim Coleman, a global investigations partner at law firm Freshfield Bruckhaus Dager in New York. Sorry, I got that terribly and I stumbled over it. Quote, because you do expect that the companies that are going to be the highest up on, or the companies that are going to be highest up on the list are going to be companies that have a reputation of corruption. And Canada is not one of those countries. It was companies both other times in the sentence, and then it finishes on countries. So that's kind of strange. Anyway, back to the article. The World Bank has been stepping up its fraud investigation in recent years with 4 times more debarments than in 2012 and compared to the past 7 years combined, said Mr. Coleman. Canadian firms may be at higher risk of being sanctioned by the World Bank, he added, because Canadian authorities have not been as aggressively enforcing its anti-corruption laws as its U.S. counterparts. The result is that Canadian companies may have been lulled into a false sense of security because their own national authorities were not closely scrutinizing their global operations and that nobody else would either. Wow. Pretty incredible, right? And this was in 2013. Do you think that the scrutiny of our banks and our institutions has gotten tighter or looser under the Liberals? And again, they were ringing the bells on this. Out of 250, 117 are from Canada. Of the 117, 115 are affiliated with this company that Mr. Trudeau insists has absolutely nothing to do with anything. And he wasn't pressuring anybody. We don't want anything to get out about this. Pretty interesting, right? And even more interesting is the removal from the search results. If you believe that our internet is free, if you believe that things are being told to you in order for you to make the most informed decision possible, and that the CBC or the CTV, the people on the news, are giving you the whole story, nope. Not even search engines can give you the whole story. right? So it's very interesting. Get out there and read. Get out there and see what is actually happening on the ground, what is actually going on out there, because what the media is telling us is being shaped, and being shaped by people who want to continue their policies. They want to keep going with whatever plan they've got going. So interesting times. This is a very big scandal among other very big scandals. The Norman case, the resignation of Bisson, all of that stuff is big and means a lot, and it's all happening in an election year. It's a disaster for Trudeau, but he's got the media paid off, so it's really not being reported. I don't know if most people know. I hope they do. There's some fancy debates. There's some excellent debate footage of the Burnaby South debates out there. I don't have time to get to it tonight. Maybe I'll get to it tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching, everybody. And check out the People's Party of Canada.ca. Have a wonderful evening.